Ladies and gentlemen, this is JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I'm Joe.
I'm Won-Jin.
Today we're going to talk about FX Shogun 2024.
Mm-hmm.
There has been 4 episodes so far.
Yes.
Full spoilers ahead for
spoilers.
everything up till now.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Right.
Man, this is a amazing prequel to Blue Eye Samurai where Mariko gives birth to Mizu, and then because it's the same time period. Let me go first, Won-Jin.
Okay.
You know, I had very low expectations. Oh, what's up, ZZ? Big shout out to ZZ. Also, big shout out to Scott Walker, Ui Chan Hong, and all our 30 loyal subscribers. You know, going in, I had very low expectations about this. You know, because me and Won-Jin were both Asians, so we've seen a lot of Asian culture depicted in Hollywood, and it's really a miss or hit, and a lot of them are a miss, to be honest. So I went in with low expectation. But damn, this is Game of Thrones in Tokugawa, yes, baby! Because one of the things that surprised me was how authentic it was. I'm not saying it's all factually correct. The importance of Portuguese merchants and that guy who's based on a real character, the main character, is a little bit overplayed for dramatic effect.
What's his name? John Blackthorne.
Yeah. And a lot of the, like, all the characters are also based on real people, by the way. Like, that's Tokugawa Ieyasu right there.
The Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yeah. And
he's basically, his character is based on Tokugawa.
Yeah. By the way, the name Taiko means retired regent, and that's Toyotomi Hideyoshi.
Yeah.
Every Koreans know him.
That's right.
But we won't go into that today.
Yeah, like when we see him dead, we instantly know, because that's especially very familiar to many Koreans. That era of Japan, especially because it's just after this war we had with Japan.
The Imjin War, we call it. It was a war between Korea, Japan, and China. So, but I was just surprised at how authentic it was, the overall feel. I love the use of Japanese.
Yeah.
What surprised me was how much Japanese was spoken. Like, so much of it. And I love how they all get proper screen time, so to speak.
Yeah, which was also quite surprising for me. I didn't expect all these seemingly, you know, like side characters getting so much attention.
Oh, big shout out to Scott Walker. Hey,
Scott Walker, what's up?
Let's talk about that after we talk about this, Scott Walker. We're trying to focus on this show, Shogun, which we highly recommend. Because you like Karate Kid, you're going to love this too.
Yeah. Go
ahead, Won-Jin.
In my case, I had mixed feelings about this show.
Going in, right?
I didn't exactly have a low expectation of it, because this is like a reboot. There's the old TV miniseries Shogun that is based on the same book.
Yeah.
And where, like, Richard Chamberlain, when he was young, he looked like a supermodel. He was so hot. Well, not.
It's okay, Won-Jin.
Yeah. Okay, that sounded wrong. But anyways.
Yeah.
I saw this very surprisingly in 7th grade. My French teacher in class, she was so obsessed with the show and Richard Chamberlain that she made us watch the show. And that was in the 90s. And the shows from the 80s, you know, if you watch 80s shows in the 90s, it somehow feels really old. And yet the show itself was so captivating. I mean, it's very different from, like, this reboot that we just saw, because the overall, you know, like, the reboot is more cinematic.
In the 80s, there was Japanese mania in the U.S. Yeah, that was when Japan was rising.
And when I watch the old show again, what I'm surprised about is how much detail, how much attention to detail there is. I mean, there's a lot of, like, location filming, and like you said, although it's an 80s show, it somehow feels really authentic, and that comes from an Asian. And it's great that you mentioned, like, how much Japanese is spoken, because in the original show, there's just as much Japanese. And, you know, I'm not fluent in Japanese, but I kind of know what they sound like. It wasn't, you know, like these Hollywood like Japanese American actors trying to sound like a local Japanese. It actually sounded like Japanese.
No, because, like, they have the same word order as us.
Yeah.
And they also share a lot of letters because mutual borrowing and Chinese characters. But
And what's different in the original show is that there are no subtitles. Every time Japanese is spoken, we're just completely lost, just like John Blackthorne. We just kind of assume what they're saying, but we don't get any context. I mean, we do get the context from the body language and everything, but there's no subtitle, so we have no idea what they're saying. So that was actually a really nice touch because it just gives you that feeling of being in a place where you're completely lost. But in the reboot, I realized that there's, a lot of subtitles, and we can kind of get along. And because of this, there is this Game of Thrones political war element. I mean, the original show also had that, but it did not get as much detail. Everything is basically centered around John Blackthorne. Other characters, they usually don't get much time.
I'm sure the novel is like that too.
Yeah, but with this, because we have the subtitle, we see these this tension building among these the warlords of Japan.
No, and I want to add to that. I think one of the reasons why they chose to do this for this show is because any show made today is targeted as a global audience. You know what I mean? Because the 80s, those were for American audiences or Western audiences. But this one, I think, it's made by FX, but it's going to be distributed by Netflix, right? So it's clearly going for a global audience. And I think they had Japanese audiences in mind. And I think we mentioned this privately. That's why his acting is amazing.
Hiroyuki Sanada.
Yeah, because Sanada is in a lot of Hollywood movies.
He's also in The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, by the way.
He was in Mortal Kombat recently. But this one, you have to remember, Tokugawa Ieyasu is super famous in Japan. And here's another thing. As Asian audiences, I think Won-Jin, you'll agree, we're used to this format of historical fiction that is not real. Yeah. Because East Asia and Asia in general, we have these historical fiction is a huge genre. And
they're loosely based on factual history, but
and don't get me started on the Japanese authors because they even have their own. There's a novel called Taiko, which is all about Hideyoshi. And Taiko means a retired region. I think I said that before. That's one of those things that East Asian culture does where I'm the real power, but I gotta sound humble and awesome at the same time.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and I love the the East Asian politics presented in a Game of Thrones way. Yeah. Because usually in East Asia, when we were warring, and we were politicking. But one of the great thing about this show is they were really effective at placing the violent scenes where it matters. Yeah. It wasn't it was kind of gratuitous in some scenes where they boil you to death. That was a real punishment that
by the way, also happens in the original show. Yeah. And he dies even slower.
Oh, man. But, I love how they intersperse those violent moments to continue the tension. Because I really felt like I was watching Game of Thrones season 3 or 4 where there were just no breaks on the great lines and scenes. Yeah. And I also love how the samurais are portrayed because this is the tail end of the Sengoku period. That means just literally warring period, and it's a very famous period in Japan.
Yeah, they had wars for 100 years.
Yeah. And I just love. There are scenes that are done effectively where remember one guy just casually beheads the guy. Yeah.
For not complying to his command. Yeah. That also happens in the original, and it just happens so abruptly that it kind of gives you a shock. Yeah. And John Blackthorne he's shocked, and we audience were also shocked at the same time, because he didn't even get a chance to make excuses.
As Tokugawa shogunate becomes a stable regime, that disappears. But during that time, samurais could do that to lower class people. They can just casually kill you. And then I just love the little touches of and the funny thing is even the seppuku, as much
the suicide.
Yeah, it's a very famous act. Because most prior series, when they deal with Japanese culture, I felt like seppuku was overused. But here, they added the shock element. They showed the context of it really well. Yeah. The insult and the killing of the male heir, too. Because during
ending the bloodline.
Yeah. Because during the Sengoku period, you have to realize that once the authority of the shogun and the emperor's the authority was already gone, it was very customary for every rich, powerful man to share hostages together. It was so common, and it was always a collateral. And daimyos could die like we only remember the famous ones, but most daimyos didn't last 3 generations because they were all wiped out. And I just love how the violence is interspersed with the Japanese beauty.
The calmness. Of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Hideyoshi allegedly loved tea parties and shit. Like, that's a huge honor to do. And I love how Tokugawa Ieyasu is presented that way too. That's a huge honor to have a tea party with your lord. Like, your lord would say, "Come here." And I'm sorry to Taiko. I wish Hideyoshi featured more, because I didn't watch the original show or read the novel like you, but because Hideyoshi himself is a fascinating character. Like, he's called...
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, because he's one of the favorite characters, like favorite historical figures in Japan, because he started off as a peasant. And he's ugly as fuck. Like, he's literally described that way. Like, ugly and short. And Oda Nobunaga, his former master, used to call him Monkey, Black Rat. And it's like the mafia stuff. Big nose Won-Jin and stuff. And I just love how one of my favorite scenes is
Donkey Dong Dong.
Yeah, he was called Monkey. Send Monkey to climb the rock. And then Oda Nobunaga, he was known as like a kind of abusive
that
boss.
really is such a mafia thing.
Yeah. And like, one of my favorite scenes, I know that you like to ask favorite scene. One of my favorite scenes is when Taiko is lying down and he's telling Ieyasu to come here, and he's like, "How about I give it to you?" And because that's like a trick,
test.
Trick question. Okay, yes.
And turn all of them into my enemies. And then very wise.
Oh, you're so wise. And then, because in real life, like, Ieyasu and Hideyoshi were once enemies.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that, like, the way they portrayed it is really interesting. So, I'm sorry I'm running my mouth around. Yeah. No, but so far, I just love the Game of Thrones of it all. Just and then what makes it fresh is I was also tempted to call this like Lost in Translation with beheadings, because Blackstone does such a great job of like fish out of water, like where
he has like no idea what the hell is going on.
One of the funniest things is when him and the samurai, savages, they all call each other savages, and just. But one thing I was not surprised about was when he banged Mariko, and that was not a surprise for me.
No, that is not Mariko.
Oh.
That also happens in the original show. She sent someone else.
Oh, really?
So that's why in the next morning they talk about it. It's like, "Cortisan, did you enjoy the courtesan that we sent you as a gift?" He's like, "Oh, that wasn't you?" The same thing happens in the original show. John Blackthorne, he's so satisfied about it the next morning, and and Mariko is like, "No, that was not me. What the hell are you talking about?"
No, don't you think that was like I think it was Mariko, but they're denying it.
Okay, maybe that's a possibility, but then, don't you think it'll be a little weird? Like, just after a couple days that her husband got sacrificed, she just goes off and pillows another man?
No, but the show implied that she was never in love with the husband. So I thought that was that Japanese thing where it didn't happen, so it didn't happen. Like, I thought that was that. So I thought it was Mariko.
And I like the show because it's taking a different path from the original one. If it was like a reboot with just, like modernized, like cinematic shots with the same story and the same plot, it would have been boring for me. But because they're taking a lot of different elements into the show, like the political intrigue and everything, this is a very fresh show.
No, she didn't deny. She offered the courtesan as a gift. No, I'm sorry. Hey, Won-Jin, don't take this the wrong way. ZZ and Won-Jin, you guys won't survive in Japan. Like, no, like, this is this is how I really think. That was not a courtesan. Mariko is just saying it didn't happen. It happened, but it didn't happen. You know how in Sopranos, they know, but they don't know. So that's what happened. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Anyways, so that's what makes the show very fresh. I also like the cast. I don't think I remember seeing the actor playing John Blackthorne. And for some very strange reason, like the way he talks, it somehow reminds me of DMX.
Yeah, he's a very
aggressive.
He's a very endearing guy. I loved his back and forth with the Portuguese guy. Fuck you, fuck you.
I mean the Spaniard.
Yeah, the Spaniard. Yeah. It was hilarious. Like
it's like, say hi to your mother for me.
Yeah.
She's dead.
Yeah. That was that's just like a ship people talk. Like and one of the great thing was the actor Asano. Like remember he played Ichi the Killer. He's the subordinate that has mixed loyalties.
Kashigi Yabushige, you mean?
The guy who played Genghis Khan in Mongol.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
the Rise of Temujin. Yeah. The Rise of Genghis Khan. Yeah, that's him.
Oh man, he plays such a, because that is actually a very realistic portrayal of like how underlings under Busho or Daimyo actually thought. Like because in Japanese you have to read between the lines. So one of the best lines is Tokugawa tells his son that you don't understand. Everyone is out for their own interest. In the end, you can only trust yourself. That's how they actually did. So it's about the hypocrisy of the rituals and the actual motive. And I thought the show did from episode 1 to 4 slowly unveil that world to us. Yeah. Because even she had a line where we have 3 hearts.
Yeah.
So
that's a great point.
I think we are gonna get more thick plot before the. I mean, if they're gonna do the Battle of Sekigahara, I think that will be the climax.
Sekigahara.
Sekigahara.
I think.
Yeah. That's when the
Tokugawa.
Yeah. Spoilers alert.
Yeah. The East and West. They kind of have this big battle.
Yeah. So.
And then the winner gets to rule Japan for the next 260 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the losers, only death awaits.
Yeah.
For their entire family.
Yeah, our choice of cussing words is also good. Very, very dense and imaginative. I'm taking notes on those expressions. Oh, that line was good. Yeah.
I mean, was it? I think I remember this like line that John Blackthorne said. I forgot what was it. You milk dribbling fuck smear. Sailor talk right there.
Yeah. I love the sailor talk. Like, and he plays such an authentic character though. Like and because me and Won-Jin knows history, there are moments that were very sad for me. Yeah. Because if this is I'm getting this Game of Thrones vibe, so I'm gonna give you guys warning. Like there will be no low that Ieyasu won't stoop to. Like we seen Taiko's son, right? If you remember Game of Thrones, just because you're a child or a woman doesn't guarantee you safety at all. So I do wonder, having not watched the show like you, I do wonder how they're gonna present that. Like, and how I don't know the ending like you. So how far of real history they're gonna take it, because
Can you guys please answer my question? Please. Why are there so much sex, many scenes in Game of Thrones TV series?
Yeah, it's something we are interested in.
Yeah, it's to captivate adult watchers.
Yeah.
I mean, adult audience.
It's a fast attention grabber. It doesn't need to be prolonged, but if we have sex or blood, we tend to watch it, right? And here there's plenty of that. And I gotta say, like, I love how they keep making Blackstone take off his clothes too.
I kind of like the diving scene.
Yeah.
I thought what's his name? Toranaga was fucking with him.
Yeah. And I love the characterization of Ieyasu too, because she tells him, "Don't let him win." He hates it. So he's someone who's very pragmatic. He wants to know whether he's good or bad. Like he doesn't want filtered shit. And because I love how there's such great details where it shows you the character of Ieyasu. I'm so sorry. I keep calling him Ieyasu.
Toranaga. Yeah, Lord Toranaga. Yeah.
No, fuck that. I'm gonna keep calling him Tokugawa.
Oh, and by the way, like the family emblem, it is slightly altered, but it looks very similar to the actual Tokugawa emblem as well. Like the 3 circles.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but and I also wonder, like, I think Won-Jin, you can answer it. I do wonder how deep they're gonna go into Japanese culture, though.
I don't remember because actually, I kind of forgot how the show ended because it's been so long. I think I watched this in like 1998 or something.
Okay.
It's
No, because there's a lot of detail that they actually share. Because Tokugawa, his family, Tokugawa is a new name, by the way. It was something else before, but they claim descent from Minamoto, the original emperor family of Japan.
And in the show, they say Minowara.
Oh, yeah.
It's very similar.
Yeah, Minowara is Minamoto. And the funny thing is, there's really no proof of that genealogy. Because there are a lot of clans that claim that branch. But I find it interesting that they would put that in like intentionally. Even Mariko's family.
Yeah.
So I do wonder like how deep they're trying to explain these Japanese customs and culture. Because Tokugawa Hideyoshi's Toyotomi Hideyoshi, his name isn't even Toyotomi. He made that last name up. Yeah, he had like 2 names before that, but he was like, once he unified Japan,
I'm the boss now. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, because this is a cool ass name. I'm gonna go with Toyotomi, baby. And then
now we gotta exert this awesome power somewhere. What do we do?
Yeah,
let's invade China.
Yeah,
on the way, let's try Korea. But anyways,
yeah. One of the interesting thing about like Japanese culture during that time was like it's very different from Korea and China, where especially in Korea, bloodline matters, and the last name is actually, we claim descent from along there, but in Japan they claim descent for a long time, but for them the clan name is everything, and it's just a very fascinating aspect of Japan. And I also love the Genghis Khan's line where we know all about the Ashigara, we know the musket guns, show me the cannons, and that stuff was very interesting. Those are very historically accurate stuff to say. Don't forget whaling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyway, oh man, I keep praising the show.
It is a good show, and I can tell that they really went all in to make sure that this is authentic. I'm not Japanese, but I'm pretty sure in the Japanese people's eyes, this would also be a satisfying show.
We'll have to see the ending. That's why I said, remember how far they will go.
Yeah.
Because for Western audience, I want to say this is a very famous historical period. This is so famous that basically every Japanese know this. Like Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, Tokugawa Ieyasu, the 3 people are like, they're like basically modern national, like pre-modern national identity.
There were all these like really famous feudal lords at the time, like Takeda Shingen, and all those great warlords. They rose and they fell. It's kind of like the romance of 3 kingdoms for us.
Yeah. Remember, like even Tanaragara's opponent is famous. Those guys.
You mean Ishido?
Yeah, Ishido is famous. Yeah. He's also a peasant. I forget his real name, but he was the main opponent during the final battle, and he was a Hideyoshi loyalist too, because this show portrays like one of the historical error. It's kind of portrays Tokugawa Ieyasu as something of a loyalist to Hideyoshi, but it's actually what's his name again?
Ishido.
Yeah, Ishido is actually the guy who served under Hideyoshi to get that spot.
I forgot the name. It's on the edge of my tongue, but I'll have. It's gonna pop up like randomly later on.
Because Tokugawa Ieyasu was always more powerful in terms of family prestige than his rivals. It's like Toyotomi Hideyoshi actually made him submit. And during this time, once you submit, you submit. Like it's one of the rules. Like once we shake hands, I'm your underling, and they're very ritualized politics, and it's really hard for them to find justification to betray their lord, because it's one of the things, just like the mafia. You know how killing the boss is illegal. It's one of the results of the Sengoku period, in my opinion, where they have these strict hierarchies. So Tokugawa Ieyasu was courteous enough to wait until Taiko dies, but he's actually the more ambitious one than Ishida.
And isn't that why they also have a novel about Ieyasu called Ambition?
Yeah.
And Temang?
Yeah. No, because the Taemang is a famous one, but that's one of those things famous in Korea. But if you look at the Japanese sources, there's just so much novels on that stuff. Like
I mean, even in cartoons and animations, you know, all these like ninja or like these cartoons based on like the Sengoku period.
Yeah.
You will also see Tokugawa Ieyasu in those cartoons.
And the Tokugawa shogunate was basically responsible for the samurai image that we have today. Because what the Japanese does a lot is they always they kept bunch of records. And Tokugawa shogunate is basically, there are a lot of things that they did that made the image of Japan today, that later, after the Meiji rotation, it would revive again, because they have this back and forth just like us, like most cultures. You know how like historical figures rise in importance and fall in importance all the time, but this is a very important period. Oh, but I also love the earthquake.
Ishida. It's not Ishida. Ishida Mitsunari. Ishida Mitsunari. He's the one who has that final battle against Tokugawa Ieyasu.
Yeah, he claims to be the Hideyoshi loyalist at least. But anyway, here, you know what I loved about it is I love how they detailed the earthquake and how modular their houses are. Because one of the reasons why, for newcomers to Japanese culture, one of the reasons why Japan has such a deep like Shinto and Buddhist culture is because of the natural disaster that happens so much.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We see earthquake happening in the last episode.
So I'm hoping they show us a fire too, because one of the reasons why they also pray a lot, according to smarter people than me that are experts in Japan that I talk to, is because there are so many fires all the time. Because all the houses
buildings are made with wood.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. They have wooden buildings.
So I love that they put in that detail. And one of the oh man, I gotta stop nerding over this stuff.
I mean, if not nerd now, then when?
Oh, but I also love. Let's talk about episode 4. I knew they were gonna show us what the chain shot does. And when they showed me, I was it totally caught me off guard.
And I love how they spared nothing in terms of brutality in that scene.
Oh,
and I also love the fact that there's no like weird slow motion stuff. It also kind of gives that feeling that we got from Game of Thrones when they had the Battle of the Bastards. Yeah, the brutality of it.
Yeah, as he lived between life and death, his reaction is a bit weird. Yeah, because that's also because I would say Japan has more Buddhist influence than Korea. Because they have Confucius interest too, but because life was so harsh, I think they took this like a hybrid view, like hybrid mix of Taoism and Buddhism. Because you know what the great thing about Buddhism is, you are always reincarnated, right? So you can die more easily, and that obsession with death is sort of a very interesting Japanese culture. That we might find time to talk about, because there are myth and facts, and a lot of it is actually mythologized. For example, like that kind of view takes us to kamikaze, right?
That's true.
But there are a lot of now that records are coming out, now it turns out it wasn't that. But that's another huge topic that we can talk about later. Oh man.
So we're almost halfway with the show. We watched episode 4, and it seems like they're gonna have 10 episodes of this show. So we're almost halfway. So yeah, like as the show progresses, if there are enough new materials to talk about, maybe we'll talk about it again.
You want to give a middle score?
The middle score for me, I would give this like a 9 out of 10.
Me too, man.
I would give it a 9. This is a solid 9.
Yeah. And the only reason why I'm not giving it a 10 is this is like a halfway score.
Yeah.
Like if I watch the whole thing, if it blows my mind, maybe this is such an unexpected delight for me. I'm so glad they did this. Yeah, and what actor? Oh, I love like the little I love how Tokugawa Ieyasu's son, like the guy who orders the cannons. Yeah, cannon shot. It's so interesting because I do wonder how much fictional liberty they're gonna take. Because I know historically he survives,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe he doesn't in this show. Because I don't know what it is. Is it the mood? It's like so much scheming.
Yeah, it just kind of gives you that Fargo feeling that somebody fucked up.
Oh yeah. Also, now I hope I can raise it to 10. Yeah, Zedzi. Fire and natural disaster. Yeah. Yeah, it's really packed. I would say. I love how like the historicalness and the drama is really well put in.
Mm-hmm.
And I just little moments. Like each episode always has this climax and down.
Yeah.
I like that structure. That's what reminds me of Game of Thrones. Because Game of Thrones always had that, ending that says, "Oh, I gotta watch the next one," and this one definitely takes that.
Yeah.
It's such a well-made TV series so far, and I can't wait to see like Genghis Khan actor. Like do some like conniving shit too.
Yeah, and I know that role especially is probably like difficult for any actor to play because he needs to play both sides, and he has to show like frustration and
not
and the cunningness.
Like
and
he has to
everything.
show charming and despicableness at the same. And I love how despicable he is.
And so far he's done a tremendous job.
Yeah, one of the funniest lines is like Tokugawa is like, "Yes, there's definitely a lot of bandits, right?" And then he's like, "I know, you know," and he's like, "I know, you know too," but And then I love how like in the fourth episode he does such a like idiot pose like, "Stop this! This is gonna cause war!" And he's such a. He's one of those like piece of shits that is likable.
Yeah,
he's like a likable piece of shit, and I love how his nephew is a conniving fucker too.
Yeah, because in the first episode we didn't expect him to be like this.
Yeah,
but as the show progresses, we see his cunning side.
Yeah, like I love the theme of that too. And anyway,
so we look very much forward. To the upcoming episodes of the show, and if you like Japanese culture and like the samurais and stuff, we strongly recommend that you watch the show. It's gonna be very good. Also, if you like shows like the Game of Thrones, this is also gonna be very satisfying. And if you have the chance, also check out the original Shogun miniseries from the 80s. That's also very good.
Yeah. Oh, and I bet my bottom dollar that Jack's gonna use that samurai sword. And I bet my bottom. Oh, Won-Jin's looking at me like he knows something.
I was gonna say that his name is John.
Oh, how are these white men? They're all the same. Anjin, you're Anjin, motherfucker.
Anjin.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, John. Or was it Jack? I keep getting. And his wife is gonna use that gun.
According to Al Pacino from *Scent of a Woman*, if you know if you know Jack long enough, it becomes John.
No, but Won-Jin, isn't it like Daniels. John, Jack, and Jill? Isn't that one of those things where? I forget it.
Yeah.
At least I remember his last name, Blackstone.
Blackthorne.
Oh, no. It's Blackthorne?
Blackthorne, yeah.
Shit. So bad with. I'm so sorry. Anyway, guys, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back with a Let's Talk session. Scott Walker, you should join us now. I'm so sorry. We wanted to focus on the show because this is a show review, but let's have a time in about 3 to 5 minutes of talking with y'all, all right? This has been JoeJinMovieSoAwesome. I was Joe.
I was Won-Jin.
We'll see you in a bit. Bye.
Bye. We'll be right back.
Man, I wish John farted, and I wanted to see how the Japanese react to that. Exactly. Like, I love the propriety jokes.
Shinitai desu ka?
No.
That's, would you like to die in a polite way?
Bozuku.